Did you know that when you use most crypto, it works just like a debit card that everyone can track? Your balance, your history, everyone you've ever paid? Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of them, transparent by design. But there's one coin that said absolutely not. It's called Monero, and governments have been trying to kill it for years. Spoiler alert, Monero is still here. This is the coin they can't kill. And today I'll show you exactly how it works and how people actually use it. In this video, we're breaking down everything you need to know about Monero, what it actually is, how the privacy tech works, why governments and exchanges keep trying to shut it down, how to buy it, and how to store it safely with self-custody wallets. Whether you're completely new to crypto or you've been in the game for years, if you're looking to truly understand what Monero is and why it matters, this one's for you. Let's dive in. So what exactly is Monero? At its core, it's digital cash that actually works like cash. You know, the kind where you hand someone a $20 bill and nobody else knows about it. No bank, no government database, no nosy neighbor tracking your coffee spending habits. Monero launched back in 2014, and here's what it makes it different from almost every other crypto project. There's no company behind it, no CEO doing podcast tours, no venture capital overlords, just a global community of developers and users who believe financial privacy is a human right, not a luxury. The ticker is XMR, and if Bitcoin is like paying with a glass wallet where everyone can see every dollar you've ever earned, Monero is the sealed envelope. Same transaction happens, but nobody's peeking inside. And that's not a bug, that is the entire point. Here's the thing about Bitcoin that most people get wrong. It's not private. At all. Even though governments and talking heads on TV have been bashing Bitcoin since day one, telling the complete opposite. It's all a lie. Every transaction you've ever made is permanently recorded on a public ledger that anyone can view. It's actually more transparent than any traditional finance institution has ever been. Picture this, your employer pays you in Bitcoin. They see your whole financial history. You pay a freelancer, they see your balance. If you buy something controversial, donate to a cause, or tip a content creator, all of it traceable, forever. Imagine if your bank statement was posted on a billboard in Times Square every month. That's essentially how most crypto works. Now, let's be clear, privacy isn't about hiding criminal activity. That's the lazy narrative. Privacy is about autonomy. It's about a journalist protecting sources, a business keeping competitive salary information confidential, an activist in an authoritarian country receiving donations without getting disappeared. It's about you buying a birthday gift without your spouse seeing it on the shared blockchain explorer. Cash gives you that choice. Monero gives you that choice. Bitcoin, not so much. Alright, so how does Monero actually pull this off? The tech is brilliant, but don't worry, I'm not about to just throw around some cryptography jargon here. Let's break it down with everyday comparisons. Monero uses three main privacy layers working together. First, ring signatures. Imagine you and 9 friends are signing a group check to split dinner. The restaurant gets paid, the check clears, but nobody, not the bank, not the IRS, not even the waiter, can prove which specific person in that group actually authorized the payment. That is a ring signature. Your transaction gets mixed with several others, and the network confirms it's legit without revealing who sent it. Second, stealth addresses. Think of this like a one-time use PO box. Every time someone sends you Monero, a brand new receiving address is automatically generated just for that transaction. It's like the address self-destructs after one use. Nobody can look at the blockchain and connect multiple payments to you because every single one lands at a different address. Only you, with your private key, can unlock and claim them. Third, ring CT, or confidential transactions. This is where Monero hides the amount being sent. So not only is the sender anonymous and the receiver anonymous, the actual number of coins moving is scrambled too. It's like sealing the envelope and encrypting the dollar amount written inside. The network verifies the math checks out, but no one can see how much you sent. And here's the kicker. All of this is the default. You don't have to opt in. Remember to click a privacy setting or pay extra. Every single Monero transaction automatically is shielded by all three layers. Bitcoin, transparent. Monero, private. By design. Quick question for you. Drop in the comments, did you know Bitcoin was this transparent before you started learning about Monero? I'm genuinely curious how many people thought Bitcoin was private before digging deeper. Let me know below. Now let's rapid fire through the most common questions people have about Monero, because I know you're thinking about some of this. Is Monero illegal? No. Monero itself is not illegal in most countries, including the US and EU. What's illegal is using any currency for illegal activities, be it cash, Bitcoin, Monero, gold bars, it doesn't matter. The tool is not the crime. Can Monero actually be traced? Not with current technology. The IRS and other agencies have offered massive bounties. We're talking $625,000 to anyone who can crack Monero's privacy. So far, crickets. That should tell you something. Isn't it just for criminals? If privacy equals crime, then every person using cash, every company with an NDA, and every phone with a passcode is a criminal. Privacy is normal. Surveillance is the aberration. And honestly, criminals still mostly use the US dollar. Just saying. Is Monero a good investment? I'm not a financial advisor, but I will say this. Monero's value proposition isn't hype or speculation. It's utility. It does what it was designed to do better than anything else. Whether that translates to price gains is up to the market, but it's one of the few coins that actually works as intended. Why do exchanges keep delisting it? Well, just because it works. Seriously, exchanges are under massive regulatory pressure, and Monero doesn't play nice with government surveillance. If it was easy to trace, they wouldn't be banning it. The delistings are basically proof of concept. Monero versus Bitcoin, which is better? Well, it depends on what you're optimizing for. Bitcoin is the OG, the reserve asset, digital gold. Monero is digital cash. Bitcoin is transparent, Monero is private. You wouldn't use gold bars to buy groceries, right? Different tools for different jobs. Can you mine Monero at home? Yes, unlike Bitcoin, which requires nowadays industrial mining rigs, Monero is CPU friendly by design. You can literally mine it on a regular laptop. It's not super profitable unless you've got cheap electricity, but the option does exist, and that keeps the network decentralized. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, regulatory pressure. Binance delisted it, Kraken dropped it in some regions, governments have targeted it, the mainstream media calls it the dark web coin. And you know what? Monero's still here. In fact, it's even stronger than ever, because here's the thing, if Monero didn't work, they wouldn't be trying so hard to kill it. Every delisting, every crackdown, every fear-mongering article is just free advertising that screams, this coin actually does what it promises. It's the Streisand effect in action. Try to suppress something and you just make more people curious. Monero has survived purely on merit, not marketing. No ICO, no billionaire influencer, no Super Bowl ads, just strong tech and a community that refuses to bend. Now let's be honest, there are trade-offs. Fewer on-ramps mean it's harder to buy for beginners. The perception problem means some people will always associate it with crime, even though that's probably false. And yes, Monero transactions are larger than Bitcoin's, so they take up more space. But here's the reframe, these aren't bugs, they're filters. Monero isn't trying to be everything to everyone. It's the hedge against the traditional financial system, against surveillance capitalism, against a future where every transaction you make is tracked, scored, and controlled. If that sounds dystopian, just look around. We're halfway there already. Monero is the exit door. Alright, I want to hear from you on this one. Do you think financial privacy is a right or a privilege? This is a real debate happening right now, and I want to know where you stand. Drop a comment and let's get the discussion going. Alright, so you're convinced, but how do you actually get your hands on some XMR? You got two main paths, the KYC route and the no KYC route. KYC exchanges are the ones that require ID verification. They're easier for beginners, but you sacrifice privacy. Some that still list Monero include Kraken in certain regions. Keep in mind, availability is shrinking, and they can delist anytime. No KYC options, this is the more Monero native route. Platforms like Haveno let you trade peer-to-peer, completely decentralized. You can also use atomic swaps to trade Bitcoin directly for Monero without any middleman. And instant swap services like Trocador let you convert other crypto into Monero with minimal friction. Here's the thing, if you're buying Monero on a KYC exchange and leaving it there, you're kinda missing the point. The whole reason to use Monero is privacy, and that starts with how you acquire it. Not your keys, not your coins, you heard that before, but it's especially true with Monero. If you leave it on an exchange, you're trusting them with your privacy, and we've already established exchanges do fold under pressure. Here are the best self-custody wallets. Monero G Wallet, this is the official desktop wallet. Full control, you can run your own node, and it's completely open source. Bit of a learning curve, so not that beginner friendly, but worth it if you're serious. Feather Wallet, also desktop, cleaner interface, loved by power users. Great if you want simplicity without sacrificing control. Cake Wallet is my top pick for beginners on mobile. Works on iOS and Android, it's super intuitive and even supports other privacy coins. It's definitely a solid choice. Monero, Android only, fully open source, built by the Monero community. It's clean, fast, reliable. Quick note on hardware wallets. Ledger actually dropped Monero support a while back, which is somewhat sus, let me tell you. Trezor never added it. There are community workarounds, but for now, software wallets are your best bet. Bottom line, get it off the exchange, control your own keys, and you're good to go. Real quick, because people always ask, what about Zcash? Both are privacy coins, but the philosophy is totally different. Zcash has optional privacy. Most Zcash transactions are actually transparent, just like Bitcoin. You have to manually opt in to shielded transactions, and most people don't. So the privacy set is small, which makes it weaker in my opinion. Monero? Privacy is mandatory. Every single transaction is shielded, no exceptions. Monero doesn't do halfway. Plus, Zcash had a trusted setup, a cryptographic ceremony where if the people involved kept certain secrets, they could theoretically print infinite coins. Monero has no such baggage. Privacy by default wins in my book. So why does Monero matter in the big picture? Because financial privacy isn't a niche concern, it's a human right. The ability to transact without constant surveillance is foundational to freedom. And in a world sprinting toward CBDCs, social credit scores, and financial censorship, Monero is the escape hatch. Monero is the cockroach. It survived the exchange bans, the regulatory crackdowns, the smear campaigns, not because it had the best marketing, but because it works. And that's why it's not going anywhere. Just do your own research, dig into the tech, join the community, but whatever you do, don't sleep on the coin they cannot kill. If you learned something new today, do me a favor, smash that like button, it helps more than you know. And if you want to know how to turn your Monero into real world spending with my favorite no KYC card, watch this video on screen. Not only you can fund this card with Monero, but actually if you use some other crypto, it always goes through a Monero layer. And that's why I like it so much. That being said, thank you for watching, take care, keep exploring crypto guys, and I'll see you on the next one.